Hi. I have been asked today to speak on the day of mourning. And we are going to have a march shortly after this. But I wanted to sort of talk about why it's important, I suppose. I know a worker, 19 years old, who went to work at his new job at a gravel crushing operation. He was excited because at the time it looked like he could use this experience to get his foot in the door, maybe look towards other similar work. He was good with his hands, proud of his work, eager to please. One day, the hood of his jacket got caught in some machinery and whipped him around suddenly and violently, crushing him. His employer did not provide him with training, safety equipment, adequate supervision. The entire work site was filled with incidents waiting to happen. Unsafe machinery, no guardrails, nothing. That young man died instantly because he went to work one day. I know a worker who went to her job one day, tripped over something that was not properly affixed to the ground, injured her knee, and now suffers from a rare but debilitating nerve condition. She lives in constant, severe pain. She's undergone many surgeries, she takes regular medication to control some of the pain, but it's taking a toll on her body. Her WCB claims have been repeatedly denied. She's been made to feel as if she is a lazy, lying malingerer. Has been made to feel, despite medical assessments from experts, that the condition is all in her head. She struggles with a life of poverty, family breakdown, and a shortened life expectancy because she went to work one day. I know a worker who came to work in Canada with the promise of a good job where he could send money to his young family back home. He was brought here to work in the oil and gas sector, and one day the roof of the structure he was working on collapsed. He and his co-worker were killed. 2 more of his co-workers were seriously injured. All 4 were from China on work permits, and initially the tragedy was blamed on lack of English. Later it was discovered that the employer knowingly cut corners on the design of the structure to get the work done more quickly. So it turns out that language didn't kill them. Their employer did. And this was 10 years ago this past Monday. And though a large fine was handed down to by the courts, no one went to jail. These workers did not get their lives back, and because they were from away as part of a contentious temporary foreign worker program, not immune to racism, these workers did not have a built-in community of family or neighbors or allies here in Canada to keep their names in the public eye. And so I will do that now. Liu Honglang, Ge Genbao, Li Ruming, Wang Dekan, because they went to work one day. I have 2 children, a daughter almost 14, a son almost 12. And very soon, both of my children will be legally allowed to work in this province at jobs that could expose them to all sorts of hazards. And all it really takes is a safety checklist from the employer, a follow-up phone call from the Director of Employment Standards with that same employer, and a signed letter from the child's parents, easily forged, as I'm sure many of us know from our own adolescence. No site inspection is required. No follow-up is mandated. Children are allowed to be placed into dangerous situations, and we are relying on them to have the knowledge, experience, confidence, and power to stand up to their boss if they feel unsafe. I know 2 future workers, and I am concerned. It is encouraging that the government is committed to legislative changes to protect working people. As an activist and as a parent, I am hopeful for the increased protection, but it is going to require action from many of us in this room and beyond. Because the most vulnerable among us, including young people, newcomers, those of us who have already been injured, are simply not able to fight alone. Today is the International Day of Mourning, the day of the year where we gather to remember those people whose lives have been lost or whose lives have been changed by workplace injuries and illnesses. And it is a day filled with numbers. 144 fatalities accepted by the Alberta WCB last year. And that's up from 125 the previous year, if you're counting. Number of injuries, not officially released by the WCB yet, but if it's the same as in previous years, there's around 50,000 disabling injuries. And yet research actually suggests that this number doesn't even tell the whole truth, that in fact the number of injuries every year in Alberta is as much as 10 times higher. And that's 500,000 injuries every year. That's 1 in 4, 1 in 5 working people. Numbers. Now, we can't dismiss the number of people who died last year, the 144, far from it. The impact of their deaths on their families, their friends, their colleagues, their communities. The day of mourning needs to draw attention to these workers who died due to their employers failing to provide safe workplaces. We need to remember. And nor can we dismiss the large number of people who have had to remake their lives after a crippling workplace injury or illness. A workplace injury can last a lifetime, ruin chances for meaningful employment, damage and destroy families and relationships. Add to this ongoing struggles with the compensation system, expensive pain medication that may or may not be covered, the health effects of the medication itself, severe depression. So the day of mourning must also be about recognizing the need for fair compensation and justice for people who have been injured and who continue to suffer as a result of their injuries or illnesses. And the problem with numbers is that they don't show the whole picture. They don't show the person. And that is what the day of mourning can be and should be about. It's about people. It's about us. Who are the people in our own lives that have been affected by workplace injury, illness, or death? Today is the day of mourning. And today, here, it is indeed our time. It is our time to do what labor does best. We band together in solidarity with our sisters and our brothers. We demonstrate our shared commitment to the memory of working people who have suffered workplace injuries, illnesses, and deaths. We demonstrate our shared commitment to continue in our struggle for safer and healthier workplaces and justice for injured workers. I know 400 workers. Let us use our numbers to put a human face on those who are no longer with us and to fight like hell for the living. Thank you.